Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and I am extremely good at PIP. I've helped well over 100 people win PIP claims. I know you've clicked on this and you're like, Charlie, why are you talking about PIP? This is universal credit. And you're right. So I'm not a universal credit expert. However, I think this is going to be worth you watching because so many people were emailing me asking for help with universal credit, work capability, and ESA. And I was like, no. I only know about PIP. One of my clients is dyslexic. So we did their PIP and then I said I'd help with their universal credit. And when I read it, I owe an apology to those of you that emailed. I didn't realise how similar they were. Since then, I've helped a number of people with their UC work capability forms and assessments. I'm doing this video so that you've got a step-by-step guide. I'm going to go through it, linking it with PIP, okay, because they are very, very similar. So what I've done is I've taken extracts from, I've photographed the form, taken extracts, I've put it into a Word document, which you can get the link in the description. If you want to contact me, links in the description, just look in the description for stuff like that. If you've done PIP, following my guides, it'll be much easier doing UC. If you haven't looked at any of my PIP videos, I suggest you do because, again, they are really, really similar. Okay, so the first bit of the form is, what are your disabilities? So this is really important. Don't just list your conditions. Look at this bit, how they affect you. When they started, links to drugs or alcohol, and any aids you use, right? So you only have a less than an A4 piece of paper to fill this out. So I'm going to give you an example here of how I would do this. Right, first of all, prioritize your most important conditions. So, for example, what example do I want to use? PTSD or CPTSD. I have some videos coming out about this. So PTSD, and it's about how it affects your life. Many people that struggle with PTSD have triggers and are constantly on the lookout, can't relax. Okay. So I'm writing this as if it's you. I've hesitated because I was going to write a word there and I had it, part of me is like, should I write it? I'm just going to write it. So that is very blunt. Straight away, obviously, if someone had read that, then this is work capability. So it's a bit like, if someone's experiencing that, I would say they're not fit for work. So let's put in something else. So when I write this, I do bold, underlined on these bits. I write it like I am now, just because you want to be clear. Okay. You can put year of diagnosis because it does say when. So I just put the year. Don't worry about dates because you do not have much space on the form. And this is like, I honestly think when someone first reads this, they can tell from this bit. If you get this right, they can tell from this bit whether you're fit for work or not. Really simple. And that's my experience with the 4 people that I've helped with this so far. And again, I'm not offering this service on my consultancy. This is not a service I'm offering. I just want to do this video to help you. I'll do another example. It's not as strict as PIP. So on PIP, I always do on average. You see where I've used the word sometimes faint? You could be more specific and saying, on average, I faint once a week. You see how I'm being very punchy with this? You've got to be blunt. And again, it's the same as PIP. You've just got to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself first before you can be honest with these people. So you've just got to be honest. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Wait. So the way I do it is I do the conditions that limit your life the most first. Okay, if you've got sleep apnea, stick it near the bottom. Oh, actually, let me show you the example of how I do that. Sorry. Like I said, conditions that impact your life. You've got to be practical about this. They need to understand, are you fit for work? So I tend to do this where I will list the other conditions that they aren't that interested in. Okay. The sleep apnea absolutely is a challenge. It's yeah, is awful for you. No, I know it impacts your life, but from a PIP point of view, this isn't points. From getting a job point of view, okay, you've only slept for an hour, and when I say that, I have lived that where years where I was sleeping for an hour or two at night. It's awful. I get it, but it doesn't mean that you can't do a job. Like something like this, I don't like. It's not relevant. Yes, it's awful for you, but it's not relevant on whether you can work or for PIP. Psoriasis, I was covered in psoriasis for years. It used to take me hours every day to treat my skin. It was sore, it bled, I left skin everywhere. It was horrendous. My skin used to rip. I could still work. It's awful. You know, people are looking at you and everything else like that, but you can work. So again, prioritize. You've got to step back and think about it objectively. Sorry, I want to put another one in here due to diabetes. Please don't forget that I spend literally every day talking to people with severe conditions. You know, generally people that come to me for help with their PIP, I don't get people with, Charlie, I've got tennis elbow. Like that's not the category that we are in, of the people that I'm working with. So I know those examples are harsh. But again, you need to do what is your reality. Okay. So part one, physical functions. Moving around and steps. A lot of people think, well, I use a walking stick, so there's a problem. No. Actually, let me show you the points for PIP. Right, so this is the government's scoring system, okay? It's not my scoring system. This is the government scoring system and available. You can Google it. Again, there's links in the description if you want these. So PIP does it. If you can do more than 200 meters, 20 bus lengths, you're good. Between 5 bus lengths to 20 bus lengths is points. 2 bus lengths to 5 bus lengths, unaided, and then aided, no more than 2 bus lengths. And this is before you need to stop. If you're in pain, as soon as you move, you're potentially points. Obviously, in varying levels of pain, there is pain where you can move around and you can manage it, yeah? But if you're in the type of pain where in your home you're holding on to things when you're moving around, I would say you're points. And I know we're not doing PIP, we're doing UC, but this all interlinks, okay? Think about your life. Have you adjusted to the point that you're not actually doing more than a few bus lengths? Think about it from when you leave your front door to the bus stop or taxi or a car. How far is that? How many bus lengths is that? When you get to the location, how far are you walking? Quite a lot of people, when I talk to them, they don't realise that they've adapted and actually they're not going more than a certain amount of bus lengths because of the severe pain. So we adapt. Okay, you need to figure this out because let's look at how UC does it. The way that UC do it is they just simply ask, are you able to move around without any difficulty? If yes, move on to the next question. Brilliant. If no, it's about how safely can you go. And I love this example here. Do you know how many times I've filmed videos like this, but I've been full screen and I've spent ages explaining stuff? It's a nightmare. Let's go back. Tiredness, pain, breathlessness, lack of balance. Okay. So remember, they're assessing you based against when we were able-bodied. So if it's fine, if you're fine, go to next question. 50 meters, 5 buses. The way you figure it out is you just take the 0, take 1 0 off, and that tells you how many buses. 100 meters, football pitch, 200 meters or more. Look at the difference. So there you go. They start at 50 meters, but PIP goes to 1 metre to 20 metres, 1 metre to 2 bust lengths. You see, it only goes to like here, to D. Really, I think it goes to C. You know, so if you've scored in the mobility section of PIP 12 points, even 10 points, it says a lot. So I think these should be interlinked, or it varies. Now, look, please, where am I? It's no good you just putting down it varies with everything. Okay? It's no good. And I honestly think if you're watching me for the first time because of UC and you've not seen any of the PIP videos, at least watch the how to win. But I just think you need to have a look. You need to have a look. There's so many good step-by-step guides in there. I get it varies. I get it varies. It depends on how your pain is that day. It depends on weather changes. It depends on if you're flared up. I get it. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I said I'm chronically ill. I'm 17 years into chronic illness. I have a severe form of arthritis. So I'm in varying levels of pain 24/7. My fatigue is horrendous. That's what really controls my life because I'm on some really good pain meds. You can work out your average. Not a good day, not a bad day. Your average, your daily life is the same for PIP, it's the same for UC. If you can't figure this out, how are they supposed to assess you properly? On average, what is your mobility like? In the past 7 days, have you walked more than 20 bus lengths without stopping? Have you walked in the past week? Have you walked the length of a football pitch without a pain increase, without being completely breathless, without being in a lot more pain? No? Right? Have you done 5 double-decker buses? Or do you do 1 double-decker bus and you're like, if there was a seat, you'd sit on it. If there was a nice wall to lean on, you'd lean on it. Really have a think about this. And again, you need to look at the other guides. If you're not sure, look at my other guides. And they've all got what's called timestamps in YouTube, where if you look at the bottom, you can just go to moving around and you can look at me explaining it there, okay? In this space, how far you can move and why you must stop. If you usually use a walking stick, crutches, just let us know. Then you do not have much space on the form. You've got like this much space. Keep it nice and blunt, nice and simple. These people are busy. They just want to figure it out. I'll do a COPD one. Due to my COPD, so you can put in whatever your condition is. Obviously, don't write this word for word, but it's just a guideline, okay? Does that make sense? I'll do another example. So if I do example 1, example 2. Sorry, as I'm writing this, I'm realising that I definitely work with extreme cases, don't I? You know, again, I hope this gives you an idea and enough to help you. Hope this adds value. Okay, can you go up or down 2 steps without help from another person if there's no rail to hold on to? So again, this is not could you in case of an emergency. This is in your daily life. Are you safe going up and down steps? So if yes, let's go on to the next question. No, or it varies. You need to fill out this bit. We'll do example 1. I'm going to try and tone it down a bit because I feel that I am doing extreme examples and I don't know if that's going to add enough value to you. You just have to be honest. In this, you've just got to be honest, but you've got to be blunt. So you need to be self-aware, okay? Hope that helps. Standing and sitting, again, these questions, I'm so worried that I've been doing PIP for a while now, okay? And I'm so worried. So most people that watch my PIP videos, they know me, they know, obviously through YouTube. They're used to me sitting here chatting to myself, having a laugh, like, because I genuinely feel like I'm talking to you. So I'm a bit worried that you've met me for the first time and I'm being very blunt and to the point with you, which is my personality. But I feel like when I've started the PIP videos, I've sort of warmed people up a bit and now I'm just getting into it. So I say this because I care, I genuinely care. And some of the things, you're not supposed to tell people what to do, but there are times where I do say to people, stop being a dick. Like, I would never qualify as a counsellor or a psychologist because you're not supposed to tell people they're being a dick. So when I say this assertively on getting in and out, getting up and down from a chair, like, there's so many of you that are going to go, yeah, of course I can. And the way I toned it then, yeah, it's about, are you able to do this and not think about it? Are you able to do this and not be in pain? Not make sounds as you move? Not feel it after you've done it? Not struggle to do it? Not have to get your hands up and be like, right, 1, 2, 3. Like, that's the type of questions. My shoulders. I'm sorry if I'm going to be a bit like assertive about it, but I'm so used to people, because we adapt and we don't want to be sick, we don't want to be a burden, we don't want to ask for help, and we certainly don't want to have to apply for benefits, right? I get it. Because we block, a lot of people aren't self-aware. I'm going to say things during this that you're going to be like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. That's what generally happens when people watch these videos. So if you are meeting me for the first time on this video, I really do recommend you watch some of the PIP stuff, okay? Because it will help you, and you might find, like, if quite a lot of what I'm saying here, you think, oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. You need to be looking at the PIP because that might be you as well. So I think I've said about without difficulty. See, they're saying it without difficulty. Again, can you do it without help from someone else? No, yes, it varies. While you are standing or sitting, or the combination of the two, how long can you stay in one place and be pain-free without the help of another person? In my head, the reason they're asking this is they're thinking about you having a desk job. Okay? They're thinking about, can you sit at Tesco's on a checkout? Because that's the other thing that we've got to do. We've got to try and figure out, what is their goal with this? Would you be able to sit at a receptionist where you can sit in a wheelie chair like mine? You could move about, you could answer the phone. Well, forget about answering the phone. We're just talking about sitting. So obviously, if you can do it without the help of another person, brilliant. But you can. If it's no or it varies, again, you need to put the examples. I'll do 2 examples for each, okay? So I think my pattern on this one is like, I'm getting the conditioning quick. Just get the conditioning quick so you know you've ticked that box. A lot of us have times of day where we're worse. Obviously not all of us, just again, this has got to be unique to you. You've just got to be honest. That's what I say to people for PIP. You have to be honest, but you have to be honest in a way that they can assess you. I would just like to point out, for those of you that don't know me, I'm really good at PIP. I'm terrible, useless at so many other things. Spelling is one of them. Like when I've got clients and they use words that just aren't in my day-to-day words, I'm like, can you spell that, please? So, that's really helpful. I am strict. Let's just say it how it is. I'm strict. We are not nice to ourselves. We're really crap at being nice to ourselves. So when I work with people and they say, Charlie, I just can't be bothered, I interrupt. And by then, obviously, I know their conditions. Like by the time we get to that point, I know their conditions. And I'm very strict about, no. It's not that you can't be bothered. It's not that you're lazy. And those of you with ADHD, depression, I'm talking to you as well, right? It's not that you can't be bothered. You have a chronic illness. You are struggling with your chronic illness. It's either you are too exhausted, or you are struggling to get motivated, or you're so weighed down by the constant thoughts in your head that you can't bring yourself to do something, or your fatigue is so severe that the idea of getting up and brushing your hair is too much. It's too much. So I'm very strict about words have power. Don't say it, especially if you're around friends and family, because if you say to your family, can't be bothered to have a wash today, it sounds like it's a choice and that you are being lazy. If you say, I can't bring myself to have a wash today, I'm in too much pain, I'll see how I feel tomorrow. That helps them understand you. The other thing that I'm very strict about is this, I don't know, Charlie, it varies. Sometimes. Nope, nope, nope. We all have averages. We all have patterns. We're human beings. As human beings, we are creatures of habit. You need to be self-aware about it. Okay? Reach in. Oh, the shoulders. If your shoulders are good, fantastic. If your shoulders are good, is your back good? If you reach, does it trigger back pain? I tend to think when you see these questions and it's got tick the box if you're okay, don't touch the box until you've read down and seen what they are. Can you lift at least one of your arms high enough to put something in the top pocket of your coat? Right, let me come back to you. Do you know what? I was so happy when I was going through this question. So, boob height. We're doing boob height. Sorry. You know when you get like a bit of a overspill on the boob? It's the cheesecake. It's the cheesecake. I am cutting back. I'm working with a physio. I need to drop weight. Weight gain equals pain with arthritis. Yeah. Okay. So we're going boob height. Can you reach your hands to here to put something in your pocket? So me, yes. I'm so fit. I'm like so fit. I don't know what job I could do where I did this, but I can do that. So I know this isn't, you haven't come onto this guide for me to show off that I can touch my boobs or put something in my pocket. You know, there we go. I'm sorry. I know this isn't helpful. Example one. Yes, I could do it. So happy. I'll do 3 examples because that's not at all helpful for you. My ribs are hurting because I got overexcited. Ugh, right. They don't ask this one in PIP. Obviously, you can make the sound as however you want. You write it for you. Can you lift one of your arms above your head? No. Right. Let's look at this from a PIP point of view, okay? Again, this is how these are interlinked. Arms above head. Do you need assistance being able to dress your upper body? Okay, it links there. It also links here. Are you able to wash your hair? That's a real challenge. For example, a lot of people with cerebral palsy need assistance with one half of their body. See what I mean? It all interlinks. Like, so whenever I start doing these guides, this is obviously my first guide on UC. It takes me a while to sort of get into it and figure it out. Can you lift one of your arms above your head? It varies. Always clarify which side and always clarify which is your worst side. Okay. So it's no, like, there's so many people that abuse the system. You've got to prove that this is your life. You've got to explain what is unique to you. Yeah. So pain-free, or like if your pain is mild, then you're all right as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Okay, let's just, so I've had confusion on this when I've gone through it with people. So can you pick up half a litre, 1 pint of milk? This isn't sponsored or anything. So 1 pint is this small one, I think. No, this one. This is 1 pint. Can you pick up and move 1 pint of liquid using your upper body? I think those are pretty clear. 2 pints. Okay, so we're starting to get some proper weight in here now. Like, there's no way I'd lift something like that. Sometimes I write that on these things because none of us want to be like this. We all want to be, well, we you know, we want to be able to work. Actually, do you want me to do it? It varies example. So let me change it to, on average, So you could do it like that as well. You could work out how many days you can do it. That's very, very helpful for them to understand. So this one, a light object like an empty cardboard box, a large light object. So think about this from it's the position of your arms. The position of the arms, what's the impact to your shoulders? What's the impact to your back? What's your balance like? Right, so let's think about it from a PIP point of view. So they're thinking about preparing food, getting things out of the fridge, chopping things, pots and pans. Hi everyone, I'm just editing this and I've realised that when I was doing this section, I forgot to talk. So I really wasn't feeling good. So I'm just going to explain. So we're on using your hands, being able to use your hands, push the buttons on a phone, pick up a £1 coin, which I love, explain about your tips, and then we'll go into the examples I did. And so sorry that I just wasn't feeling good at this point. Right, communicating, speaking, writing, and typing. Right. So this is really basic. This doesn't mean the days you have a migraine. This doesn't mean when you're feeling so low that you just can't engage with someone. This is if a child was about to go near boiling pan, that you could be like, no, it's hot, careful. Could you communicate danger? This one's that simple. Example one. Don't forget, this is your claim, your choice. So if you still want to go, it varies, and explain like when I've got a migraine, I'm not able to communicate. She will put that as the varies. Okay. Example one. So that's as if a parent is writing for their autistic child. So actually, I was wrong in what I said. Now I've worked on that, I'm like, actually, it varies, isn't there? Because there's definitely people like, if you've ever had a proper migraine, it's bad, isn't it? Yeah. So this is the PIP version. It's about to understand complex information and basic. I realised that I'm typing the examples above this. Should really be below it. So I'm sorry about that, but I don't want to go through and change it all now. So obviously, if you can hear and read, great. No issues. Can you understand simple messages from other people by hearing or lip reading without the help of another person? Simple message like fire escape that way. Again, make sure you check these before you answer. Before you answer the main question in each section, you've got to check exactly what this is referring to. So even before I start filling this out, I'm checking the next bit. Simple messages from other people. Okay, so we'll do an example for each. I'd just keep it that simple. Can you understand simple messages from other people? Right. If you can text, emails, letters, then you're fine. Obviously, if you use an aid, I'm going to say it varies. And I'm going to use dyslexia. So I've put that down as it varies because they haven't given you a yes with an aid, because they only want to answer if it's no or it varies. So I'm going to say it varies because if I've got an aid, I can do it. And that goes for those of you that use the colour, like if you've got to have red to be able to read and things like that. Getting around safely. Right, look at this. This is to do with vision. Getting around safely, vision. Guide dog. Okay. So if you're not blind or have major issues with your vision, if you normally wear glasses, oh, actually, that probably helps if I put my glasses on. I'm like, why is it hurting? Well, I'll put my glasses on. Right. Controlling your bowels or using bowels and bladder. Bowels, who, bladder, we. Most people don't use the word bowel in a normal conversation. Yeah. So you can say bladder, number 1, bowel, number 2, whatever terminology you're comfortable with. Lots of you are going to want to tick this because you're not going to want to discuss it. But think about it. You need to be honest. That's all I ask of you, is to be honest with yourself first, and then honest with the government. That's it. That's all you've got to be, is honest. Admittedly, with PIP, it's very, very difficult because you have to then persuade someone that you're actually telling the truth. But if you're honest, you're consistent in what you say. So really try and be honest. And just to clarify, if you're doing PIP, they are always extremely nice about this section. They are always, I've never ever had anyone with the people that I've worked with, which is a lot of people, I've never had anyone say that they were derogatory or anything on this section. Okay. Do you have to wash or change your clothing because of difficulty controlling your bladder, bowels, or collecting device? Is this the only question here? Yeah, okay. Do you have... I don't like this question. Let me come back to you. So, for example, you've had a one-off experience where it's stained your clothes and then you don't want to go out, but you haven't had it in the past 6 months because you don't go out for that reason. This question is dodgy. Okay? If you get it where... Yeah, let's have a look at this. Let's be really careful with this, because in my mind, the question should be, do you avoid going out for fear of incontinence? Have you had an accident previously where your pads haven't been adequate? Because there's a massive group of people in that category. I've wet myself. I went to, it was so... I mean, there's never a good time to wet yourself. Let's face it, there's never a good time to wet yourself. I had to go, I used to be a transport specialist. So New Look, the high street retailer, I used to run the UK transport operation. I had to go to a different site, which was already really bad because I was trying to keep my illness hidden. I didn't want to show weakness. I was really embarrassed. So I went to this different site, senior manager meeting, finance. We sat there. I sat at the back of the room. So the door was way over there. And then it was down a long corridor to the toilet. Well, my mobility is not great. It was really bad at the time. And I didn't have the energy when we had breaks. I didn't have the energy to get up to get to the toilet. So I thought, I'll hold it. And then we were sat and I just wet myself, and it wasn't a leak. It was a flood. I was wearing dark blue jeggings. So fortunately, I had this massive high-vis jacket on that came below the knee. And I was actually sat on it, so it didn't mark the chair. And I had someone going with me carrying my bags because I'm not good at carrying things, to get me to a hotel because I wasn't well enough to drive because I actually got to the location. I can't even remember how I got there. And my boss was there and he was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "No, there was no way I was telling anyone." I didn't even tell Susan that got me to the hotel. I didn't even tell her. And when she got me to the hotel room, I burst out crying. And she's like, "Why are you crying?" And I didn't tell her. I was like, "I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain." And I didn't tell her. I was so embarrassed I couldn't tell her. The amount of people I speak to where we've had that experience, or the worst one, someone notices that you've leaked before you do. How mortifying is that? Mortifying. So I actually don't like the way this is worded. I'm going to do some examples. We're going to go with their format, but we're going to get a step ahead of this, okay? So, do you have to wash or change your clothes because of difficulty controlling your bladder, bowels, or collecting device? So, example. I'm going to do a couple of examples and you can put them in whichever one you want, whichever one suits you. They're not going to want the detail that's in my head, but this is the level of honesty I want you to go to, right? They want to know what your life is like. They want to know, let's send you to employment. And some of the people that I've met that are being sent, like, you must go for job interviews. And I'm sat there knowing what their lives are like, thinking, if you're not honest with them, how are they supposed to know? And even if you are really honest with them, there's still some dickheads that are going to be like, yeah, you're all right, when you're not. You've got to be really blunt. Okay, so let's go example 1. And I'll just put some in so you can, like, give you some ideas, okay? Let's use the word contaminated. How do we nicely say, because you're not going to say, well, you could say whatever you want. It's your life, your claim. But I'm trying to think of how do we say this nicely. My clothing's been contaminated. My clothing has been contaminated. Right, let's do it. There's quite a lot of us that will get a warning and then we've got minutes. Some of you have got seconds to get to a toilet. So if that's you, say it. So I'm going to put on this example. You need to go and I have less than a minute to get to a toilet before. I get why they're oh no, hang on a minute. I get why they're obsessed with the clothing, because they're thinking if you can wear pads and just change your pads, you're all right to go to work. But what? Okay, let me come back to you. I'm sorry this is so long, but there's so much to talk about. This is not a simple subject. You know, we're very proud, stubborn people. All of you watching this, we're all stubborn, and we need to be to survive this. Right. What they don't understand in this is if we're wearing pads and we're experiencing incontinence, I have never met someone that doesn't say what I'm about to say to you. I can smell the urine. I think I smell. I need to try and wash because I smell. I'm worried I can't get rid of the smell. And the poor vaginas and like genitals that are not getting any air. They're not getting any air because you're having to wear pads all the time. I can say hand on heart, it is a reasonable request to want to be able to air your vagina. It's reasonable. You're being reasonable. You're right to be upset if you can't air your vagina. I think you've got to be blunt on this, because if you're in that category, then it's not. I get like women on our periods, you can experience a flood, you can manage it, you can work. But bladder and bowel, it's not like that. And I think the pads are much better than what they used to be. But you've got to be blunt. You've got to be blunt, otherwise they won't understand. And I think with this section as well, they truly understand that when you explain it, it's so clear when you're telling the truth, that they will be gentle about it. But we're in like part 2 now. Please tick the box if you can learn to do everyday tasks without difficulty. Okay. I love the way they've explained this. Keep it that simple when it comes to autism. Let's move on. Okay, so we're on the washing machine. Could you use the similar sort of examples? I think there's similar sort of examples on this one again. So I won't do more there. Sharp objects. And with PIP, this links to preparing food. Those of you in that situation, but please speak up about it. So this one's going to be for severe ADHD. It's not acceptable before learning to do tasks, there's number 10, which wasn't on here, staying conscious. Okay, so sorry, I didn't I didn't photograph the form on that bit, so I'm so sorry, but that's in there. Can I manage to plan, start and finish daily tasks? You know who I'm thinking of. Let's go on to coping with change. Okay. Small changes, if you know about them before. I think there's so many of you that are really not good at this. Hope those are some good examples for you. I think actually these work for that, don't they? I think that's a good enough that you can then. Let me do an example for pain. You'll be able to understand, like, you can apply these to your different conditions. And again, you just need to tell the truth. Yeah, 15 of 18, nearly there. Going out. So this is. Oh, actually, hang on a second. I forgot to keep linking to the PIP stuff. Sorry, I was getting in the zone. This one links to planning and following a journey. If you never go anywhere on your own, think about it, then that's 12 points in the PIP thing. And they will question you in detail on this. Unfamiliar journey is different, okay? And about prompting regarding mental health. So let's see the angle from this point of view, because there are people that, for example, with autism, where, or severe anxiety, where they cannot go out unless they're with someone. So someone can then drive them to their job where they feel safe, it's with people they know, and provided there are no changes in that environment, they're able to do that job role. Okay, obviously there's going to be times, curveballs, where you're having a bad day and you have a panic attack or something like that. So it is, I think it's important for us to work. Like me, I would psychologically break if I wasn't able to work. I'd break. Don't get me wrong, there are times where I'm so sick that I'm not even worried about it because I'm in what I call survival mode. But I think where possible, it is great to work. But it depends on obviously how much you're impacted, mentally or emotionally, going out, and physical. Okay. So if you can go out on your own, and again, this isn't if your life depended on it, this is in your daily life. Do you go out on your own? In the past week, have you been out on your own? Have you been to the local shop on your own? If you have been to the local shop or your supermarket or your GP, is that a rare occurrence? Like, if it's maybe 3 times a year that you go out on your own, that's not your daily life. This is about your daily life. I know this is UC, not PIP, I know that. But they need to know about what is your norm, what's normal for you, and why. Can you go to places? Can you leave home and go out to places you know? No, or it varies. Who answered no, or it varies, use the space to tell us why. But then it's saying, if you need someone to go with you. What? Am I being dippy? Okay, I'll do one more, it varies. So somewhere you do not know. I mean, this is a whole different ball game, isn't it? Somewhere you don't know. I think you need to be careful with this one because they're going to be thinking, well, what, like PIP does this all the time. If you had to go to a hospital, it was really important for a scan or yeah, they say scan, they use scan. So if it was something that could help get us better, most of us will do everything in our power to try and get there, no matter how much it messes with our heads, our physical, or how fucked up we are for ages afterwards. So, and again, they're saying no, and it varies. So let's do an OCD one. This is an important one. Let's look at the PIP one first. If you've watched this all the way through, you deserve some sort of award. Like, I don't know, this is hours. Hours. It's hard work, isn't it? Like, doing these forms is really hard work. You're doing great, by the way. You're doing great. Keep going. You can do this. Promise. Even though this is, I really hope this guide helps you. Let me know in the comments if this helps, right? Let's look at the PIP. Coping with, I don't know what I'm doing now. Right. Coping with social situations. Oh, have I taken payments recently? This one is big points. Could be big points. Social support, if you're not going anywhere on your own, needs prompting. That's more so depression, anxiety, PTSD. Overwhelming psychological distress. This is those of you with PTSD, anxiety, depression. If you go into fight or flight mode, you're in this category. So this interlinks. Again, I don't know how many times I've said this, if I've said it enough. For those of you that reached out to me about this, thank you. You were absolutely right that it's interlinked. Without feeling... Now, I love the wording on this. This is so much nicer than PIP, isn't it? Please tick this box if you can cope with social situations without feeling too anxious or scared. So again, if you have some anxiety when you go out, okay. Bit nervous, okay, but you can still manage it. Brilliant. I'm so happy for you. If you're getting to the point where you're sweating, you're tense, you're avoiding it, you do anything you can to get out of it, you do not want to be around people, you want to avoid people, you don't want to be where you can't cope with it, that's where we're in. Okay, right. This one, when I worked with my client this morning, codename Hopeful Future, this was interesting now. So he interpreted this as his close family. And I was like, no. I interpreted this as, no, this isn't just close family because you know other people, but you might not be comfortable with them. So this isn't just close family. So we're going to go, this one is strangers. Actually, let me make a note. So this is close family and anyone you know, even if you have not spoken to them. Years. That's how I perceive it. Could be talking shit. Okay, I could be talking shit. I don't think I am, but I could be talking shit because let's face it, I've only done 3 of these. Do you know what? I'm great at remembering detail about that's unique to individuals. I'm terrible with numbers. I'm absolutely terrible with numbers. But I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth that it's 3 or 4. Remember. Okay, so example. I understand I've changed the way I do the examples. I was doing example 1, example 2, and now I'm doing example. No, this is quite a severe one, but this is big shout out to those of you that experience this. I think that's enough in that example. Yeah, let's do another one. The amount of times I've had client meetings where we'll end up talking and we'll get onto the toilet bit and they'll explain about how much diarrhea they get. And I'm like, do you need to go to the toilet? Like, how's your pad doing? And they haven't eaten for 24, 48 or 72 hours because they were worried that during the meeting with me, they'd need to go to the toilet and they were embarrassed. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. Right, strangers. I feel like there's good examples throughout this that you could then use for this. But so I'm not going to do PTSD because I've done that. I've done OCD. Someone sent an email. There are so many of you that truly believe this. I had no idea. Those of you struggling with your mental health, how if someone glances at you, what you're thinking inside your head. I can't imagine what it is like for you. I just can't. I think most of us that I talk to, we'll all have something where, let me just come back to you. I don't want you to feel paranoid, like on the few occasions that you get out. So you just have to be honest about it on rare occasions. Yeah. 2 or 3 times a year, I might be able to do this. Say it, and then you don't have to have that paranoia that we all get when you get PIP funding, or if you get this. I don't want you to have that paranoia. Again, this links to engaging with people. Okay. I'm so sorry. Like, if you're looking at this and you're like, I upset my family because I snap at them. Look, let me come back to you. Right. PTSD, anxiety, pain, fatigue. Most chronic illness impacts us where we will snap at people. Like, for example, if someone says something simple like, can you pass me that? Or could you make me a cup of tea? For a lot of us, even because most of us don't look sick. We don't look sick. And unless someone's experienced chronic illness, they've got no idea. It doesn't matter how much you explain to them. I spent a decade, I have excellent communication skills, right? That was my job. Influence people, lead people, all heading in the same direction, clear communication. That's one of my skills. I spent 10 years trying to get people to understand how it felt to be me, that I'm chronically ill. And even my family that would live with me at periods of time didn't get it. Spoke to my specialist and he said, stop trying to get people to understand. They never will unless they experience it. And I was like, so just don't try and explain it. He said, no, because they won't get it until they experience it. That was a weight off my shoulders because I was using so much energy and so frustrated that people didn't get it. So what that means is when a family or a friend or someone, like a simple thing like if you're in the shop and someone is in your way and you have to go around them, the amount of energy it takes to go around them, or if they come too close to you and you're not comfortable with it, you're worried, do I smell of urine? Or it's a trigger for you. What is that person looking at? Why are they getting nearer to me? They don't get it, which makes us snap. It makes us grumpy. And we take it out on those we love. So try and be really honest with yourself on this one. And I'm so sorry if this is a reality check, but really try and be honest, okay? Oh, and if you've had situations where you've shouted, thrown things, harmed yourself or others, be honest. Actually, I'm just thinking about the example and I'm thinking every condition can result in this. So I'm going to do one example and tweak for your life. So what I'm going to do is this colour means change to your condition. Stroke. Now, don't forget, if this is the first time you're seeing one of my guides, do not write what I have written word for word. Okay? It's no good if they all suddenly start getting forms with these examples in. This is a guide. Hang on a minute. Let me go. I'm going to go for an easy one that's easy for me to write. So I'll go for pain. I'll do pain, anxiety. Okay, so that's so that bit with so that could be the example could be a stranger looking at you. I'll do a couple more examples. Say that that is what would be unique, that's unique to you as well. So that could be, this has resulted in me smashing the TV. This has resulted in me throwing my phone out the window. This has resulted in me self-harming. Okay. Whatever the solution is that you've put in place. Okay, hope that's helpful. Last one. Woo! Now, I nearly screwed up earlier because I missed the word prompted. And I went, oh, this is physical. This is just physical. It's not, it's prompted. So those of you with depression, fatigue, pain, loads of us. If you're doing it varies, put how many, on average, how many days a week. So from a PIP point of view, this is take a nutrition. And it's quite high points here. It's 4 points for prompting. Again, just to clarify, if you don't have diagnosis, doesn't matter what you say. Okay, you need diagnosis, and I know there is going to be a lot of you that don't have diagnosis for some of your conditions. I know it's exhausting, frustrating. Got to stick with it. If you know something is wrong with your body, you know yourself better than anyone. Stand your ground. Again, I would say on this one, refer to the above examples. Okay, we're on the final bit. Sharing information. Give them permission. Give them permission. If so, yes. I don't understand why. Yes, look. This is about being transparent and honest with them. Like, if you are struggling and stuff, why wouldn't you give them access to your medical records? We need to give access. If you don't give access, I would say it's a real red flag for them. Sign and date it. Right. Now, the face-to-face assessment, the people that I've worked with, it doesn't actually say it in this bit. So it's about a home visit. If you need a home visit, if you want it to be recorded, yes, we want it to be recorded because it's DWP and we know that they do not write accurate reports, unfortunately. I don't know what it's like with UC, but obviously I know what it's like with PIP and they don't write accurate reports. So I would say always request it's recorded and record it yourself. Just let them know that you're recording it yourself. The requesting someone the same gender as you or religion as you, whatever you need, here is the time to request it. So, example. When you do these assessments, whether it's PIP or UC, the most important thing, especially with PIP, is how you communicate during the assessment. So I'm pretty sure UC is going to be similar. If that means that going into doing an assessment, doing face-to-face, all of that, you're not going to be able to think as clearly. If whatever it is, whether it's a panic attack, whether it's your anxiety, whether it's your ADHD going round and round and round, whether it's pain increase so you don't communicate as well, whether it's brain fog, whatever it is, you need to try and organise this so you can be as switched on as possible. You need to be as alert as possible so you can communicate clearly with them. Be honest in your request for the assessment. And I think it's easier for them to do the phone assessments. so then they can farm out the work, to people that are working from home. I really hope this helped. You take care of yourselves and don't give up. Don't give up. Whatever you've got going on, please don't give up. You can do this.